to anybody out there at all. It doesn't make any sense at all. But let me show you what the Most High does when it comes to sickness and affliction and whatnot. Okay? Watch this right here. Let's go to Nahum. That's Nahum. Nahum. That's the way I pronounce it. Alright? Let's go there. See, can I find it here real quick? Okay. Let me see, can I find it here real quick? We get it. We get it here. Alright, we get it. Got my pages here. We'll find it. Alright, need him. Alright, let's look at this right here. Verse chapter 1. Let's look at verses 6 through 9. It says, who can stand before his indignation? And who can abide in the fierceness of his anger? His fury is poured out like fire, and the rock are thrown down by him. The Lord is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble, and he knoweth them that trust in him. But with an overrunning flood, he will make an utter end of the peace thereof, of the place thereof, and darkness shall pursue his enemy. And what do you imagine against the Lord? He will make an utter end. Affliction shall not rise a second time. Huh? When God does something, he does it right. It ain't gonna come back no second time. But see, this bullshit about Jesus, they cast him out, and then supposedly he went and got 7 more and came back. Now, does that make any sense, Israel, or not? It doesn't make any sense at all. But anyway, let's go a little further. Let's go to Jeremiah. Let's go to Jeremiah 17. Let's go to Jeremiah 17. And watch this, my brothers and sisters. Jeremiah 17, verse 13 through 14. It says, O Lord, the hope of Israel, all that forsake thee shall be ashamed, and they that depart from me shall be written in the earth, because they have forsaken the Lord, the fountain of living water. Look what he says. Heal me, O Lord, and I shall be healed. Huh? Save me, and I shall be saved. Huh? Look at that. Jeremiah. Look what it says. For thou art my praise. I mean, God does not do things halfway. God does things the right way the first time. Ain't no second time around. No. Now let's go a little further. Let's go to Job. The book of Job here. We're going to look at this. Now watch this, my brothers and sisters. The book of Job. We're going to look at Job 32. Now watch this, my brothers and sisters. Job 32. Let's look at verses 6. He says, and Elihu, the son of Bar-Achol, the Buzite, answered and said, I am young, and ye are very old. Wherefore I was afraid, and does not show you my opinion. I said, days shall speak, and multitude of years shall teach wisdom. Now let's stop right there. The multitude of days shall teach wisdom. Now look what he says. But there is a spirit in man, and the inspiration of the Almighty giveth him understanding. See, God has to give you understanding. God has to put that spirit of wisdom on the inside of you. See, because without God, you like an empty shell. You ain't nothing. You like an empty shell without the Most High. You are an empty shell without the Most High. But look, he talks about here. He talks about wisdom. Here in verse 7. He says, I say days shall speak, and the multitude of years should teach wisdom. But see, that's not so. That's not so. You can have a person that could be 100 years old and don't have a stench of wisdom in his body at all, in his head nowhere. Does I call, and my voice is to the sons of men. O ye simple, understand wisdom, and ye fools, be ye of understanding heart. Hear, for I will speak of excellent things, and the opening of my lips shall bring right things. For my mouth shall speak truth, and wickedness is an abomination to my lips. Now this is wisdom talking. Now if you think about what we just read here, talking about her, isn't it? She, isn't it? So there's a difference between she and he. Am I right or wrong, Israel? I know I'm right. Verse 8. All the words of my mouth are in righteousness. There is nothing forward or perverse in them. They are all plain to him that understandeth, and right to them that find knowledge. Receive my instructions, and do not silver and knowledge rather than choice gold. He says, for wisdom is better than rubies, and all things that may be desired are not to be compared to it. Wisdom dwelleth with prudence, and find out knowledge of witty inventions. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride and arrogance, and the evil way of the forward mouth do I hate. Counsel is mine, and sound wisdom. I am understanding. I have strength. By my kings reign, and prince decree justice. By my prince rules and nobles, even all my judges of the earth. I love them that love me, and those that seek me early shall find me. Riches and honor are not with me. Yea, durable riches and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold, yea, than fine gold, and reverence than choice silver. He says, I laid in the way of righteousness, and in the midst of the path of judgment, that I may cause those that love me to inherit substance, and I will fill their treasures. The Lord possessed me in the beginning of his way before his works of old. I was set up from everlasting, from the beginning, even the earth was, even the earth was. In other words, wisdom said that I was with God even before the earth was. Now we saw up in the other verses, it said her, she, and all this right now, right? So it was referring to a female. All right. Now let's go a little further here now. Let's look at this right here now. It says, verse 23, he says, I was set up from everlasting, from the beginning, or even the earth was. When there was no depths, I was brought forth. When there was no foundation, abounding with water, but the mountains was settled before the hills, was I brought forth. while as yet he had made the earth, nor the fields, nor the high parts of the dust of the world. He had prepared the heavens. I was there. When he was set at compass upon the face of the depth, when he established the clouds above, when he strengthened the foundation of the deep. Now see, all this, I want y'all to go ahead and read this, Israel. Y'all go ahead and read this. But now, do you see what he's saying here? Wisdom was there. She was there. God's companion was there. Now let's go to Genesis. I'm going to prove it. Now. We just read about all the depths over here. Verse 21, 23 say, I was set up from everlasting to everlasting, from the beginning, or even the earth was. He said, I was there. She said, I was there. Verse 24 says, when there was no depth, I was brought forth. When there was no foundation, abounded with water. Before the mountains were settled, before the hills was, I brought forth. Not Jesus. Wisdom did. Now let's go to Genesis. Let's go to Genesis. Now, like I said, I'm going to prove what I said. Let's go to Genesis, chapter 1. See, because my sister and brother, it's right in the pages. But if God doesn't show it to you, you can't see it. That's why I stress to you guys all the time. Everybody cannot teach because God has not called them. He is not showing them the things that he is showing us. He's not. Now let's look at Genesis. Chapter 1, verse 1 says, in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth was without form, and void, and darkness was up upon the face of the deep. Now remember now, we just read over there that wisdom was there. Before there was even a foundation, I was there. He said, and the Spirit of God, what? The Spirit of wisdom moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. Wisdom made light. I call it a creating spirit, but the Bible calls it wisdom. I'm going to prove it. I just proved it there, but I'm going to prove it even further. Now let's go to Proverbs chapter 3. Now watch it right here. My brothers and sisters, watch this. Proverbs chapter 3. Let's begin at verse 12. Now look what it says to my sisters and brothers. It says, my son, despise not my this is verse 11. My son, despise not my chastising of the Lord, neither be weary of his correction. For who the Lord loveth, he correcteth, even as a father the son in whom he delight. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom. Okay, now we're dealing with wisdom. Now look what it says. And the man that getteth understanding. For the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof of fine gold. She is. Are you listening? She is more precious than rubies. Talking about wisdom. And all things thou canst desire are not to be compared unto her. Not him. Lengthening of days is in her right hand. Her, not him. Talking about who? Wisdom. And in her, who? Wisdom, left hand, riches and honor. Her ways are ways of pleasantness. Her ways, not his. And all her paths are peace. Her path. Okay? She is a tree of life to them that lay hold on her, not him. And happy is everyone that retaineth her, not him. The Lord, by wisdom, has what? Founded the earth. Right there, my sisters and brothers. Right there. It says, look what it says. It didn't say by Jesus. It said the Lord, by wisdom, has founded the earth. By understanding, has he established the heavens. Where's Jesus?